I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my video cartoon for April 20th, 2025. Here we go, folks. Here is my latest cartoon here. Now, this is a flashback cartoon, and I call it Richard's Trump 2018. Let's make sure you can see it good. Richard's Trump 2018 dream of delivering university graduation speech amid what's going on now with Harvard Law. So I want to contrast what President Trump actually said during his first term back then in 2018 to what's going on now. And as I always say, you draw your own conclusion. So here we have this cartoon here, okay? And the backdrop for this cartoon that I'm going to introduce to you right now is this. This is current. Given Harvard University received an emailed letter from the Trump administration last Friday that included a series of demands about hiring, admissions, and curriculum so onerous that school officials decided they had no choice but to take on the White House. They had to challenge this. They felt that the university would be so compromised that it wouldn't be what it stood for any longer. And so they did not go along with President Trump's ultimatum here. Okay? The upshot of the university standing up was the Trump administration froze over $2.2 billion in federal grants, and the IRS is making plans now to take away Harvard's tax-exempt status. So President Trump is going for the jugular now, taking away their tax exemptions, making them pay more taxes, and at the same time cutting their funding. So that's like, getting them right by the throat there. You see? Now, what I'm saying here in this cartoon, this is going back again to, this is from 2018, November 18th, 2018. Trump's dream of delivering graduation speech following tweet. This is a tweet that he made back then in November 2018, around that time. Here's his tweet. Universities will someday study what highly conflicted and not Senate approved Bob Mueller and his gang of Democratic thugs have done to destroy people. So he's saying that it should be part of the history of teaching history books should be rewritten. Basically, college history books should be written to show that Bob Mueller was a villain and that conflicted, and he calls him conflicted Bob Mueller. That was the guy who prosecuted him with the January 6th stuff and all that stuff. So he wants someday that will be in the curriculum to see what a terrible, treacherous traitor. Basically, he was calling Bob Mueller, that prosecutor, a traitor to the country for prosecuting him. That's what it comes down to here when he says, not Senate approved, Bob Mueller and his gang of Democrat thugs, have done to destroy people. So that was word for word from a tweet back again in November of 2018. Back in November 2018. Now, here is President Trump dreaming during his first term. See, in the White House there. See? Dreaming. Now, here is the class of 2020, and I made up a university called Barbecue University. See, I wanted to try to think of a name of a university without you mentioning the university that would come close to an actual university. So I thought Syracuse University. So instead of saying Syracuse, I made up the name Barbecue. Now, not to say that the barbecue that he's talking about Syracuse, but how I derived barbecue off of that kind of thinking. You see, has nothing to do with Syracuse University, but I'm saying here, I wanted it to sound like a university, you know, and his barbecue sounded really good because that's what he was doing, barbecuing universities. That's what we see now here in 2025, you see? So there you have it. So class of 2020, okay? And here we have Barbecue University here, there, and there is the college logo. This is their college logo, the barbecue with steaks on the grill being barbecued there. And that's the college logo. I made up that college logo for Barbecue University. And there's Trump with his graduation cap on there. And here he is, you know, on the podium there. Yeah. See? There he is. Okay. And here's the class of 2020 listening to his speech. See that? There they are. And there he goes. Barbecue University, class of 2020. President Trump now delivering his graduation for the graduation ceremony, making a speech to the students going out into the world to face the world now, the leaders of tomorrow. And here he goes. And here he goes. There we go. We got it right here. So here he goes. I'll try to say it. Class of 2020, it will serve you well to remember that what you read and what you hear is not happening. That incredible knowledge can make any of you a future president of the United States. So there it was. Going back to 2018 here. There it was. You know, I think back to my days at school, taking all these sociology courses, philosophy, and this and that. And there are many things that I did not agree with that the professors were saying, but they said a lot of stuff I did disagree with. So I had the will to filter out what I thought was good for me and what I didn't think was that good for me. And I prospered from the course, and I always felt with these courses, I walked away with something I didn't have before, but I never felt threatened by professors who expounded on views that I did not agree with. I just took it that well, that's their philosophy. You know, they're teaching philosophy of education. Philosophy is philosophy. So if we start saying, "Oh, well, you can't teach that because you're doing this and doing that," you're not only you're weakening students because you're not building a sense of them to do critical thinking on their own, to think for themselves. Well, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, but I do agree with this. You're taking that building block away from students to decipher about what they want to listen to, what they want to listen to, but what they want, what they will take with them out of the course. So once you do that, you're developing the future leaders of our country won't be able to tolerate other people's views because everything they will be baked like a cake, the way that President Trump wants it to be. If this changing the curriculum around and making it this and that, so I say to you that it's not productive to go that way, to say, well, you can't listen to this, you can't listen to that, and our students don't have the ability of their own to determine what's good for them. We have to change the curriculum to make sure they're not exposed to this and this and that. And so there you have it. So that's just something I just threw in there. And there was the going back over again. There is the here it is. Class of 20, addressing the class of 2020 Barbecue University. That I made that up. The barbecue college logo is the barbecue with the steaks on the grill. There it is. President Trump dreaming here in the White House, and the students listening. And the bottom line is that remember, what you read and what you hear is not happening. And that can make any of you a future president of the United States. So that was it, folks. Have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you next time. Man, may God bless all our troops stationed all over the world, many in harm's way. And may God bless America. And take care, folks. Stay well. And God bless you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.